everyone, my name is Nina Jackson and I'm from Independent Thinking, and I've been posed with the question of how can I best support a child with ADHD in my classroom, but also I'm going to support some ideas that you can use for online learning and home learning as well. First of all, I would make sure that I've got a really good, solid, sound relationship with that student, that I've actually taken time to sit with them to discuss possibly what they view as some of their challenges and to offer them emotional support so that when they may be having an ADHD episode, when they're out of control and they may not be fully aware of what's happening to them, that they've got a safe space and a safe person in me as their teacher. So how would I, first of all, help them in regulating their learning, in focusing on their learning? Because as we know, ADHD students, their behaviour can be very different on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour basis. I would make sure that clear instructions are given every single time, that I would chunk the learning, scaffold the learning, make sure that my speech isn't too quick for them, check in with them that they've understood what the actual task is, reinforcing that use of language. Definitely understanding what their needs are. I would provide the student with a doodle pad, a notepad, or maybe a sensory tool to be able to help them to self-regulate and to be emotionally secure in that learning environment. When it comes to written tasks, what I would make sure I would offer that student, because often many of our students with ADHD, they find it very challenging to be able to write down these very sort of quick thoughts that are actually in their mind. So I would offer them a digital device to be able to use speech to text. And then what that would allow the student to be able to do is to then listen to exactly what it is that they've recorded, to track and trace some of the language across the screen. And of course, then give them the empowerment and self-confidence to believe, to understand and know that they can achieve amazing things. In supporting them with their ADHD, particularly when they're getting very anxious or very fidgety, I would offer them some alternative sensory tools apart from maybe a pipe cleaner or a little bit of blue tack that they can actually use to sort of focus and listen to the teacher, but also have something to fiddle with as well. I know I particularly like something to fiddle with occasionally to help me keep me focused. But I would possibly offer them a Wobble Cushion. Some of you may or may not have heard of this, but it's a round sort of plastic type cushion that actually has got these extended bubbles on top. They're much like the bubbles that we pop, you know, that you get with packaging. But when you sit on that, it actually really helps the individual to be able to focus and not be so fidgety. Coming back to these clear, slow instructions. With that, I would make sure that there was scaffolding, that there was chunked learning, that there was a variety of opportunities for the student to access learning. I like to call it the learning buffet, so that I could give them visual prompts and actually demonstrate how I would like the task to be done. I would most certainly be inviting them to the VIP lounge, which is right at the front, near me, where I can support them, help them and direct them if needed. If you use this type of language and say to the students, would you like to join me in the first class VIP lounge, then you're not going to have so much resistance. If, for example, they want to sit at the back of the classroom where there are windows so they can daydream, or even sometimes near a door where they can have a pretty quick exit. Spelling dictionary I'd like to really recommend, and something that I would definitely use to support an ADHD student, and it is a spelling dictionary called the ACE spelling dictionary, which is all to do with sounds of words, and that really does help. I would make sure that there's a safe space for the child in my classroom, that they would have a designated space that they could go to rather than being withdrawn from the classroom. Thanks very much. Look after yourselves in these very difficult times. I'm Nina Jackson from @ITL Worldwide and on Twitter @MusicMind.